and welcome everyone. Thank you again for tuning in to the Jackie Jackson Show. I am the Jackie Jackson, and I really appreciate you taking the time to tune in and watch this new show. So this is a show that is all about inspiring, empowering, and motivating you so that you can be the best you that you can possibly be. Yes, it is true. All of my guests are entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, professionals, authors, musicians, community leaders, activists, the who's who in your community. And they are going to be sharing the story behind the story. How did they get to the success level that they're currently experiencing so that you can get information and apply it directly to your life so that you can be the best you can be. All right. And today I'm really excited because I have Desmond Meade here from FRRC, and it is a treat to have him. Like, I'm having jitters right now just because he's in my presence. That's how important this man is, Desmond.
Well, thank you, Jackie. It's definitely a pleasure being on the show. I'm grateful for this opportunity to really reach out to your audience and share my story of hope and redemption, you know, and hopefully that inspires others to know that no matter what obstacles they may face in life, that they could overcome those obstacles.
Absolutely, and that's the reason why you are here today, is to create that sense of hope, right? So, Desmond, your cause from the FRRC, which is the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Did I get that right?
Yes, you got it.
Because it's a mouthful.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It's a little tongue twister, but it's important, and people need to know what that is. Can you explain, please?
Yes, so the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition is currently leading an effort to restore the ability to vote to over 1.68 million people that lives in Florida who have at some point or another in their life was convicted of a felony offense. Florida is one of 4 states that permanently disenfranchises its citizens, and that means that they cannot vote, they cannot serve on a jury, they cannot run for office, but they also experience other collateral consequences such as occupational licensing, barred from employment opportunities, as well as housing opportunities, as well. And so we have, launched this campaign to amend the state constitution that would allow, at the minimum, allow these individuals to have the ability to vote. Now, it would not apply to people convicted of murder or people convicted of felony sexual offenses, but everyone else, once they've fully completed their sentence, once they have paid their debt back to society, they will be able to have the ability to register to vote and participate in the democratic process.
Now, this is a huge undertaking, isn't it? I mean, this is a big deal. Like, I saw just recently, you had the support of Rock Nation from Jay-Z, right? Because
yes.
The 444 tour was local here in Florida, and you got a chance to be part of that concert in order to have a moment to communicate with all of the concert goers. Mm-hmm. So I know that there's a lot of energy and a lot of effort that is going behind this movement. But share with me, where did it start?
Wow, so that's a great question, Jackie, and I appreciate you asking me this because yes, it is a huge movement because not since the women's suffrage movement, when women were given the right to vote, have there been such a potential of re-enfranchising such an enormous amount of people. Because when we talk about 1.68 million people, we're talking about more people than the population of over 15 U.S. states and territories, or the population of over 60, 70 countries in the world. So this is a huge undertaking, and the roots or the beginning of the effort, I think really sits in my personal story. In August of 2005, I found myself standing in front of railroad tracks in South Florida, waiting on a train to come so I can jump in front of it.
Wow.
At the time that I stood there, I was a broken man. I was homeless. I was addicted to drugs. I was recently released from prison. I didn't have a job. The only thing I owned were the clothes on my back. And as I stood there in front of those railroad tracks, in that oppressive heat and humidity in South Florida, the only thing, I was able to block that out because the only thing that was going through my mind was how much pain I was going to feel when that train hit me. You know, I didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. Now, I knew that my mother didn't raise me to be in that position, but there I was that day, and I was ready to end it all. But by the grace of God, you know, the train didn't come for some reason, and eventually I crossed the tracks. And I walked a couple blocks further, and I checked myself into drug treatment. And after completing drug treatment, I moved into a homeless shelter. And it was while I was living in the homeless shelter that I decided to go back to school because I wanted to do something to raise my self-esteem so I don't have to go back to those railroad tracks again. And so I enrolled at Miami-Dade College in the paralegal program. I ended up graduating at the top of my class. I was encouraged by my professors to continue my education. So I pursued a bachelor's degree in public safety management with a concentration in criminal justice. I figured since I had enough experience getting arrested on the streets and appearing before judges, that that's probably my best bet of doing good in class. And it worked, right?
And you're a graduate of FIU, is that
Yeah,
right?
and so eventually, after I got my bachelor's, I was accepted in the FIU College of Law. And in May of 2014, I graduated with my Juris Doctorate degree. You know, and while that story is a story of really redemption, restoration, and overcoming obstacles, you know, it still does not have a complete happy ending because in spite of all that I've been able to accomplish, I still cannot vote. My civil rights have not been restored, and as a result, I can't even practice law in the state of Florida.
Wow. So we're going to talk more about that, and we're going to elaborate on that as soon as we come back from this commercial break. Need more customers for your business? Create your own TV commercial. Advertise with us. We'll help you promote your product, your service to your customers. A plan to fit every budget. Over 1.5 million household views. Increase your revenue and sales. Advertise with us today. Advertise at thejackyjackson.com.
You just leave me.
Definitely led.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back everyone to the Jackie Jackson Show. I am Jackie Jackson and I am sitting here with Desmond Meade from the FRRC, which is a Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, and I am so excited to have him here. You shared your personal story earlier of a moment in time that you had a perceived understanding of hopelessness in your life, and there was a decision that you were contemplating, which is to take your own life, and you chose not to. You stepped across literally the railroad to the other side, and you said, you know what, something has to be better on the other side. And you took the time to just re-energize and recreate yourself by going back to school, educating yourself, getting multiple degrees, not one, not two, but three. three different college degrees, right? And here you are, an advocate for other individuals that may be in the same situation, disenfranchised individuals that may have had been convicted of a felony and now they don't have the right to vote anymore, and now you are passionately lobbying for them to help them get their rights restored as well as yours, because you said that your rights has not been restored and you're unable, because of that, you're unable to practice law in the state of Florida. So how do you maintain hope? Like, where is the future for this movement? Because to me, it seems like an uphill battle. I know you've gotten a lot of exposure in the media, and you have quite a few very important celebrities that are, you know, rallying behind you, so you can get your movement, you know, some inertia behind it and exposure. But where do you foresee the future? Where are you going right now?
Well, let me tell you. So the hope, it's easy to maintain this hope. I think I have an advantage, right? Because as a person of faith, you know, this movement I think is divinely inspired. And what I learned early on was that, you know, if you take care of God's business, He takes care of yours. You know, and I think the key ingredient in really living in this moment of hope and making a difference in your community, making a difference in this country, is understanding that God's purpose for us is to give back.
Absolutely.
And I think that when you commit yourself to waking up every morning and figuring out how can I be a better person than I was yesterday, how can I make a difference in at least one person's life, right? You commit yourself to that. God's take care of everything else. This campaign in itself, when we first started, no one believed that we would get where we're at right now. No one believed we even had a chance to get out of the box, but we were able to make history in Florida by being the first ever citizens initiative to actually make it to the Florida Supreme Court without, any major funding or any major backing. We did it by pure grassroots effort. And then when we got there, the Supreme Court ruled on our petition, and every single justice on that Supreme Court bench agreed with us.
Wow.
And it's very rare that you get
unanimous.
Unanimous.
Yes.
And so at every juncture in this campaign, what we have seen is that God has had a hand in this thing, that we are breaking the norms, every which way we're going. And I attribute that to, number one, his hand being on it, but number two, our faith in him and our commitment to impacting our community in a positive way.
Absolutely. Now, you shared some really important nuggets a moment ago, and I really want us to really key in and focus on them. One of the first things that you mentioned a moment ago is believing. First and foremost, you must believe, even if you do not know the how, right? That is not our job to know the how, to figure it out. We must first have faith and believe in ourselves and our ability before we can actually perform it and have it manifest itself into reality, right? And then the second thing that you said there, it sounds to me like you surrounded yourself with others. Like, even though you may or may not have had like the support originally, you sought out people that would be part of the movement, that would support you, and now you have exponential growth.
Yes, correct. I mean, you never want to be the smartest person in the room all the time. You want to surround yourself with people that will challenge you, that will push you to be a better you, with people who are aligned, I should say, with the core principles. I think that should guide us. No matter what business you're in, no matter what organization that you're a part of, and even as an individual, it have to be this clear understanding that there's no me without you, right? So the success of my business, the success of my movement, the success of the organization is totally dependent on our ability to understand the needs of others and address them.
And too often we get this kind of introverted look, entrepreneurs do, where they're like, it's my way or the highway, and I'm going to do everything by myself, and it's all about me, me, me. But the time that you realize, that moment in time that you realize that it's not about you, it's about serving others, that's when you really, you start running, like cheetah running. Right? You no longer are like a slow crawl anymore. You're like Usain Bolt running,
I mean, and when you really break it down, Jackie, it makes so much sense. If I own a store, in a community, right, and I don't care about the plight of the community, right, I don't care about that crackhead, you know what I'm saying, I don't fight for that juvenile that might be ending up in the criminal justice system, then I'm going to end up becoming a victim, right? The less people in my community that have good paying, livable wage type of jobs,
yes,
right, the less people can come to my store and buy my product. So it hurts my profit.
And that
my
makes
bottom
sense,
line.
but people don't view it that way.
But then those are the ones that will end up falling by the wayside or struggling in business. If you want your business to thrive, if you want whatever venture you're getting into to thrive, and that the ability to thrive is dependent on the community's involvement, then you must be concerned about their welfare, because a strong community, right, gives you strong business.
Yes.
A weak community will give you weak business, and you'll end up having to shut your doors and move on.
Wow. Now, if that's not a golden nugget that you need to scribe that and etch that into something and put it on your refrigerator, then that's something that you need to take home right there. Investing back into your community will reap rewards for anything that you are trying to accomplish. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
As simple as it sounds, you know, that's what you need to do. Invest back into your community, and then your community will then support you.
Yeah.
It only makes sense. So take me to a day in the life of Desmond Meade. You are so busy. Like, I called and I had to talk to, you know, your publicist and all these different people just to get to you and screen. So I need to understand a day in the life. But before we do that, we're going to take a commercial break, and you're going to tell me how I could be on like Jay-Z's concert like you there. Yes, don't laugh. You are.
Okay.
And welcome back to the Jackie Jackson Show. I'm Jackie Jackson, sitting here with Desmond Meade from FRRC. And before our last commercial break, I really made a joke of asking Desmond how I can, you know, meet Jay-Z and Beyonce and them. And I'm serious. I really need you to tell me. So explain a day in the life of Desmond Meade, and how did you, you know, get the exposure that you currently have right now?
Wow. So when you're talking about, you know, how my life is, you know, a typical day, you know, I wear many hats. And so as president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, not only am I helping to drive the ballot initiative, I'm also building a statewide organization of directly impacted people, returning citizens, people who have formerly been convicted of felony offenses, and family members who have the family in prison. Mm-hmm. So we're building this statewide organization to really empower people who have been interacted with the criminal justice system and their family members, and empower communities of color. So that's one thing. So that's a body of work in itself. We have right now 7 chapters throughout the state of Florida, and we're growing. All right. So, and then on the other hand, I am the chair of Floridians for a Fair Democracy, which is the special ballot committee that was formed to actually launch the constitutional amendment drive. And so I have to oversee the day-to-day. We have a campaign manager, but there are other kind of pieces, funders, donors, volunteers. We have over 500 volunteers that's working throughout the state of Florida, you know, and so at any moment I could be anywhere in the state dealing with that. And then finally, I'm also partnering with the Live Free campaign, because as we're fighting for a lot of issues in our communities, life goes on, right?
Yes, it does.
And one of the things that touches me deeply is that every single day we have a person of color that is being either killed or shot, right? Men and women. And, you know, we're the only race of people.
It's an epidemic.
It's an epidemic. And so I am working diligently with the Live Free campaign to actually bring sensible gun violence reduction strategies to the state of Florida, strategies in which was implemented in other cities where we've seen a reduction in gun violence by up to 70%. And so that is an issue that's near and dear to me, because, like I said, our people are dying every day, just like they're getting locked up every day. And so those 3 pieces is what I hold. In addition to, you know, I have a very beautiful wife with 5 children, you know, and,
yes,
and
you do.
know, I have to
her.
play the
She's
family
wonderful.
role too. And somehow or another, you know, I have to fit them into that, and then still not lose sight of where I'm really grounded, and that's in my faith, you know. And so, you know, I'm a member of Experience Christian Center in Orlando, and so I still have to be connected to that as well.
Oh, wonderful. And I know you're currently working with Julie Washington, she's an attorney here in Central Florida, right?
Yeah, so Julie Washington is the bomb. I could tell you, her and her husband at the Washington law firm, I mean, they really, I mean, I took to them immediately. They really believe in community from day one. They've been a family that believes in giving back. And the added bonus is that, you know, she's Haitian American. And one thing that I know is that the Haitian American community has not gotten the attention that it deserved or should have. and she's bringing awareness to that community, on many fronts,
Yes.
whether it's financial literacy, and whether it's about, civic engagement and being able to have their voices heard and to empower that community as well. And so she's an amazing person. I can't say enough about her. Fun to be around, but she's serious about her work. She's serious about her people.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Awesome, awesome. So in a short break, we'll be able to talk to her and get her 2 cents on the movement and how she feels about it and what she's doing in the community to get change and get people involved and stuff like that. So before we get to Julie, just share with me one thing. If you had one piece of advice that you had to give to a young adult, a millennial, or it doesn't even a baby boomer or someone like that, and they wanted to create a change in their life, what's the one advice that you would give to them?
If I had to give advice to someone that wanted to create a change in their life, the simplest thing is to be of service to someone. No matter what position you're in, no matter how much money you have, no matter what your status is, there's always going to be someone that's in a worse position than you. And you do have something to offer, no matter what others might tell you. And if you commit yourself to giving back to people less fortunate than you, you would find that would empower you, it would uplift you. There was a time when I was walking around in the streets homeless and hooked on crack with my head down, right? Ashamed of where I was because I knew I shouldn't be there. But what I discovered is that the same things that brought me shame is now taking me as far as the White House, meeting President Obama, not once but twice, taking me before Congress, taking me before the United Nations, now put me at the head of an organization that's leading the most transformative movement that this country has seen in years. The same things that had me down are the same things that put me where I'm at today. And the only reason that they put me where I'm at today, because I took that negative and turned it into a positive. Through service, through giving back. Just like they say, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. If we want our communities, our state, our country to be stronger, we must empower the weakest among us. And so there's always someone that's worse off than you. There's always someone that you can pour into, and help out. And in doing that, you will overcome any obstacle that you have in life.
Wow, thank you so much, Desmond. That was powerful.
A
powerful message indeed, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come out to our show. So I think that Ms. Washington has arrived, so
awesome.
After this commercial break, we will definitely meet with her. All right.
Does it feel